What if I told you that a football team once won the biggest league title in England when almost nobody believed they had a chance? Before the season started, bookmakers gave them odds of around 5,000 to 1. To put that into perspective, people had a better chance of witnessing something completely unbelievable than seeing this team become champions. The team was Leicester City. And what happened next became one of the greatest underdog stories football has ever seen. But this story didn't begin with a trophy. It began with a team that was simply trying to survive. In the 2014-15 Premier League season, Leicester City looked like they were heading for relegation. For much of the season, they were near the bottom of the table. But then something incredible happened. Leicester went on a dramatic late-season run, winning several crucial matches and somehow escaping relegation. The team survived, but almost nobody expected what would happen the following season. Leicester appointed Italian manager Claudio Ranieri. At the time, Ranieri was experienced, but Leicester were not considered one of the Premier League's big clubs. They didn't have the financial power of Manchester City. They didn't have the history and global dominance of Manchester United. They weren't Chelsea or Arsenal, and they certainly weren't expected to challenge for the title. But football doesn't always follow the script. Leicester started winning, and then they kept winning. Players who weren't considered global superstars suddenly became some of the most important players in England. One of them was Jamie Vardy. Vardy had taken a very unusual path to the Premier League. He wasn't a typical superstar who had been famous since childhood. He had worked his way up through the lower levels of English football. And now, at the highest level, he was scoring goals against some of the biggest clubs in the country. Then came one of the most incredible individual achievements of the season. Vardy scored in 11 consecutive Premier League matches, 11 straight games. That run broke the previous Premier League record for consecutive matches with a goal. Suddenly, the football world had to take Leicester seriously. But it wasn't just Vardy. Riyad Mahrez was creating chances and scoring incredible goals. And Kante was winning the ball back again and again in midfield. Wes Morgan was leading the defense, and behind them all was Claudio Ranieri. Ranieri became known for keeping the team calm. While the pressure around them grew, Leicester continued to focus on one match at a time, and slowly something unbelievable started to look possible. Leicester were no longer just trying to avoid relegation. They were fighting for the Premier League title. Imagine being a fan of Leicester at this point. At the beginning of the season, you probably weren't dreaming about winning the league. You were probably hoping for a comfortable season. But suddenly your team was sitting at the top of English football. The bigger clubs were chasing them. Every match became more important. Every drop point could change everything. And then came one of the most famous moments of the entire story. On May 2nd, 2016, Leicester didn't even need to play to become champions. Their closest challengers, Tottenham Hotspur, were playing Chelsea. Tottenham needed to win to keep their title hopes alive, but the match ended 2-2. That result meant Leicester City were officially champions of England. A team that had been fighting relegation just one season earlier had won the Premier League. Think about that for a moment. 1 year earlier, Leicester were celebrating simply staying in the Premier League. Now they were celebrating the biggest league title in English football. Players, coaches and fans couldn't believe it. Claudio Ranieri had taken a team nobody expected to win and turned them into champions. Jamie Vardy had gone from the lower levels of English football to becoming one of the Premier League's most famous strikers. Riyad Mahrez went from being relatively unknown to winning the PFA Players Player of the Year award. Kante became one of the most respected midfielders in world football, and Leicester City became a symbol of what makes football so special. Because football isn't always about money. It isn't always about the biggest stadium. It isn't always about signing the most expensive players. Sometimes it's about teamwork. It's about belief. It's about confidence. And sometimes, one unbelievable season can change the history of an entire club. Leicester finished the 2015-16 Premier League season with 81 points. They had lost only 3 league matches. They had beaten some of England's biggest clubs. And they had done something that seemed almost impossible at the start of the season. They had won the Premier League. That's why the Leicester story is remembered as one of football's greatest underdog stories. It reminds us that before the game begins, nobody knows exactly what is going to happen. A team can be written off. A player can be underestimated. A club can be considered too small. But once the whistle blows, anything can happen. And that's the beauty of football. Leicester City didn't just win a trophy. They gave millions of football fans a reason to believe in the impossible. So here's the question for you. Do you think Leicester's Premier League title is the greatest underdog achievement in football history? Or is there another team that deserves that title? Tell me your answer in the comments. And if you enjoy real football stories, incredible comebacks, legendary moments, and unbelievable football history, subscribe to the channel. Because the next story might be even more unbelievable.